Hi, friends. Today we continue our conversation about ministry resourcing. You know, part of our identity as the PennDel Ministry Network is healthy pastors in thriving churches. We also recognize that that means healthy leaders in healthy ministry contexts. I'm here today with George Krebs, who just has done a phenomenal job leading our kids ministry, children's ministry in the PennDel Ministry Network. Hi, George.
How you doing today, Don?
Okay. Hey, George, you know, when I was a kid, I remember going down to the playground, and every summer some kid broke their arm on something, whether it was the monkey bars or the swings or climbing the frame of the swings and falling off. And such is the experience of kids. Today, in the context of our culture, what are some of the challenging or points of concern that kids are facing today?
Wow. Well, it's probably not getting hurt on monkey bars because those are outlawed.
Okay.
And they make kids wear helmets today, unlike when I was a kid. You know, I think the biggest concern I've seen in children, Don, is fractured families.
Okay.
We have our kids give us testimonies at camps and retreats, and many testimonies about divorce and families falling apart and dysfunction, and that's probably the biggest thing kids face today, and it's everywhere.
Hey, you know, one of the sad realities is we've become so accustomed to it, it's normal to us. But you deal with it on a more personal basis.
All the time, and I find single parents are a large pocket in our churches, everywhere. And not just single moms, single dads as well. That's a growing number.
So tell us, what are some of the opportunities that the church has today to minister to children in their context?
I think probably the biggest opportunity is just, for one, having someone on that staff, whether it's volunteer or paid, that is kids are ingrained in their life. They just want to change their lives and really turn things around for them.
Yeah.
You know, if there's nobody intentional doing it, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And many churches struggle to find somebody who's intentionally going to take that kids ministry and minister to children.
That's huge. You know, my mind automatically goes back to the multiple times where Jesus really affirmed the value of children. So as a network, how can we come alongside churches and leaders in a local church context to resource them?
Well, one of the things we do is training. I think every time we go into a training at a church, whether it's an individual church or we do a regional training or we do a one-yearly training, people are just hungry to learn more. How can I do this better? How can I be better at it? How do I measure my effectiveness?
Yeah.
And I don't know why some people just don't take advantage of that training.
Right.
On the web, it's everywhere. You can get all kinds of kids ministry training on the web as well. And I think that's probably the biggest need for churches. As they train, they have to remember that they want to recruit people, but it's not about recruiting so much, it's about retaining.
Right.
And when people are inspired, trained, and equipped, they'll stay there.
Okay.
They'll give you years of service.
Yeah. My sister teaches, and she shares with me some of the technology pieces that she has in play today. And I would imagine that there are a lot of different types and styles of resources that are available. How do people keep up with that? How do you connect with that?
Well, for us, we're constantly asking questions of each other, providing resources. We have a couple Facebook pages, and that has been very helpful. I had one of our pastors' wives call me and said, "Hey, we're a small church. We have no money. We need curriculum. What do we do?" And I get a few free samples from Gospel Publishing House every year. I sent her a whole box. I told her, go on our Facebook page. She got on there, and stuff was just coming her way.
Wow.
All kinds of ideas. So it's just about connecting up with other leaders.
Cool.
And finding what's out there. And even though we have a lot of resources, there's not been a better time to teach kids because of the resources we have. But I'll tell you this, it's still that personal contact you have with kids, that personal relationship.
Yeah, so it goes beyond the material. Goes beyond the material resources to the personal relationships.
Yeah, it's mentoring.
Yeah.
And you can only mentor so many, so then you enlist other people to help you mentor more kids.
Right. What are some of the big wins that are out there and maybe that you've experienced? How long have you been doing network ministry?
20 years.
Okay.
In my 20th year.
So what are some of the big wins that you're experiencing and you're celebrating?
We have 48 full-time children's pastors, maybe 20 part-timers.
Okay.
And a plethora of lay leaders who don't get paid at all. They're my heroes.
Yeah.
They work tirelessly without a paycheck, and they're doing it because God has called them into ministry. And that's my big win. When I see people excited, and I'll say they've been ordained into kids ministry, maybe it was in a church basement, but I just see them come alive, and that's my win. And I see them growing in that church and winning kids and winning families, and to me, that's the big win.
Okay, so I'm going to insert myself into the local church context, and I'm a pastor, and I'm pastoring perhaps a medium or a small church. What are some of the first things that I should be doing to minister to kids and families?
First thing to do is to find somebody to do it. That's probably the hardest job of all.
Right.
I get that request all the time. We need to have somebody. I think if I were a senior pastor in that context, I would try to highlight what I have right now.
Okay.
If I got 5 children, I'd highlight them on a Sunday morning. I'd bring them up. I'd pray for them before they leave that sanctuary and go into their kids' ministry. And I'd make that need known. Sometimes people don't know the need is there unless you really make it known. And I would feed those people. Yeah. I would give them the resources they need, whether it's money, finances, whatever I can squeeze out, I would give them to do the job effectively.
Nice, nice.
And people want to know they're making a difference, and I would always highlight that. I would share stories of lives that are changed in that kids' ministry, and it happens all the time.
Yeah. So as a network, we have some fairly substantial events that happen throughout the course of the year. And tell us a story. What's happened at Kids Camp this past year?
Kids Camp is always great.
Yeah.
It was the most unusual year. We saw the Holy Spirit fall. We saw children baptized in the Holy Spirit, received callings. I had a 6th grade boy come up to me after spending about 40 minutes at the altar. And he says, Pastor, I saw myself in China as a missionary.
Oh, no
God's calling me to China. But how's that going to happen? Because I know there are no missionaries allowed in China. And I said, well, if God has called you, he'll find a way. And I was able to share about a little girl who was in my kids' church who now is an adult, and she teaches English in China.
Wow.
She's been there several years.
Nice.
And God is using her to share the gospel. I said, it can happen. You hang in there. It can happen.
Nice. Well, we have a lot of resources that we can share with the local church. George, you're one of the great resources that we have. We so appreciate you. And you can contact George, and he can either help you or point you in the right direction.
That's it.
All right.
So we have a lot of great leaders, and it's about leaders connecting the leaders. We connect groups. We do trainings. You're right. Call me. We're here. Our business is you. We're never too busy because people are a business.
Nice.
So,
well, thank you for connecting with us today. Have a great day, pastors. God bless you.